Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me this week. So on the question of ending up alone, I think whether you have just recently gone through a breakup or a divorce, or you've just been single for a while, this fear that we all have, by the way, that what if I end up alone? I mean, you can't deny that thought actually crosses your mind from time to time. So I want to go over that thought because it actually can really help you and not just completely terrify you. Worrying about ending up alone and worrying about your future is normal. It's something that we all go through. It's thoughts that we've all had. And the more you can normalize these things and not just feed them and go down a rabbit hole, the healthier obviously you'll be. And you'll realize just how this fear thought is actually going to help you going forward. The good news is that no one should ever end up alone. And this isn't about, there's a balance between being healthy and knowing how to take care of yourself and being okay with being alone and understanding that you're a human being and you're actually not supposed to be alone for long periods of time for the rest of your life. So the good news is no one has to end up alone. So first, I need you to self-reflect. So we're gonna bring some self-awareness into this, and I want you to start really diving deep into the fear story and getting to the root of what's really there. What I mean by that is you have to understand the trauma and the past experiences that you've been through that are still on your back. You're still dragging them around with you every single day. And really, it's that trauma and that experience. It's what you didn't get. It's what you witnessed. It's what you went through that's creating this fear story. A lot of times people will put up this front that they don't want to be in a relationship. They're happy being single, and by all means, live your best life and be content with being single, absolutely. But there is a part of you that does want to eventually be with someone. So don't deny yourself by using this kind of defense mechanism to try to convince yourself that you don't need anyone. So if you're struggling with being a little bit too independent, if you're struggling with having a really thick wall up because of what you've been through, which we totally understand, it's totally valid, and you definitely will get my empathy and compassion for what it is that you've gone through because it's a real thing and it's hurt you. But those things that you've gone through just mean that you're still healing from them, and they're dictating your outlook on your life. The self-reflection and you acknowledging that is going to help you to start actually really healing from what it is that you've gone through. Whether it is disappointment, whether it is betrayal, whether it is, hey, I just grew up and I just didn't get what I needed, and now I've realized that I can't trust anyone, I can only trust myself, and look, I can give myself everything that I need, and see, I don't need anyone. Those types of defense mechanisms are just tactics. And here's the thing, that can only last for so long because really what you're doing is you're actually cheating yourself out of the real happiness that, quite frankly, you deserve. These defenses that we put up, these walls that we put up, are just a fear of being disappointed. It's a fear of being let down. When you start to, if you're really healthy, then you don't fear putting the wall down. You don't fear disappointment because you know that even if you do experience it, that you'll be okay. That's the difference between being healthy and independent and single versus the defense mechanisms that sometimes people put up. So what I want you to start doing is I want you to start understanding the story behind the fear, and I want you to start challenging the story and also understanding really what is the trauma that's there that is still kind of living inside of me that I haven't really healed. If you get to the root of anything, all fear is just a bunch of irrational thoughts. It's a bunch of thoughts that are not true, and even if they ever did come true, you would be able to handle it. It's your ability to start really, and it sounds corny and you hear this all the time, but you gotta actually trust yourself. And the thing is, when I ask people this on the phone, when I say, look, let's play out worst case scenario. Let's say that this actually does happen. Whatever that is, will you be okay? And the answer is yes. And they know that the minute I even answer or ask that question. So it's just about challenging the fear. Once you challenge it and you kind of just look at it from a rational state, you open it up and you expose it and you realize it's not real. It doesn't actually have any weight. And it's kind of like when you used to be afraid of the boogeyman. You know that the boogeyman doesn't exist now because you've looked at this from a rational state. And so you don't feed that fear thought that tells you, oh my God, I can't put my feet on the on the edge of my bed because something's going to come up and grab my foot. You know that that's irrational. You know that that's not real. And so you don't live your life and keep feeding that irrational thought to make you feel so scared to just be able to dangle your foot on the outside of your bed. Kind of a weird analogy, but I hope it works. Remember that the people that really do stay single for a really long time, the people that actually never move on, is because those people actually created stories just like you're creating right now, and they fed them just like you're feeding them right now, and they did that so many times that their fear actually became their reality. And of course, most of those people won't be self-aware or want to take any responsibility for that, to acknowledge that I actually did this. I didn't find a partner because I didn't believe it was going to happen. I didn't find a partner because I was closed up. I didn't find anyone because I didn't put myself out there. I didn't find anyone because I was so scared about my future that I just already made the decision that it just wasn't going to happen. So there were so many things that were working against them. There were so many things that they haven't healed from: self-worth, trusting themselves, challenging those thoughts, being more self-aware in every single day as to whether or not they're hurting themselves or helping themselves, being honest with the fact that I do want to find a partner, I do want to be in love, I do deserve this. Those things weren't happening for those people, and that's why there are certain people that do end up alone. How you feel, and I say this a lot, is working on you changes every aspect of your life. So how you feel about you, do you have a high level of self-respect and self-worth? Self-respect means that I accept who I am, and I have a standard of how I deserve to be treated, and I am going to treat myself at that level, as well as people in my life are going to meet me at that level. They may not be able to meet me all the time, but I will meet me all the time. And I get to define whether or not someone can even come close to this, if you should be in my life or not. That's self-respect. That's self-acceptance. Me valuing myself to know that I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of a great relationship. I'm worthy to move on with my life and let go of that past experience, because me hanging on to it is not helping me to get where I want to be or have the things that I want for myself. That takes just basically taking responsibility for your life and not putting where you are on anyone else. Now, you may be at a place that you didn't choose that for yourself. I didn't choose to be divorced. I didn't choose to go through this breakup. I didn't choose to have my partner just leave me. That's different. You can't control what happens to you. We all know this, but you can control how you respond. So it is your response to what happens to you that builds strength. It builds confidence, it builds self-esteem, it builds that self-worth, that self-respect, accepting of yourself, all of those things, because you don't allow what happens to you to define you. That's huge. That is so self-empowering. That will get you to where you want to be. That will help you to achieve any goal that you set for yourself, not just finding a partner. I can't tell you how many times I have talked to someone and every fear that they have is just a huge list of assumptions. They just assume there's no one in their town. They just assume it's going to take forever. And this goes true for anything, right? This goes true for starting a business, changing jobs, making more money. They just assume it's going to be hard. They have a completely lack fear mindset that it's really just kept them stuck for so long. And by stuck, I mean it just kept them in their comfort zone. They didn't challenge that thought to kind of move out of that space. Never once. They were so unaware as to what it is that they were doing that was keeping them stuck that they kept that cycle going. Again, a lot of times this is just because you're completely oblivious to what you're actually doing that's hurting yourself. But when you start really saying, look, I'm going to take responsibility for everything. This is what really changed my life for me, was I just said, I am not going to make someone else responsible for me in any way, shape, or form. No matter what happens to me, no matter what I go through, no matter what someone does to me, it does not matter. I am going to take responsibility for how I start responding. And that's really where the self-parenting started. It's where I started becoming more self-aware as to how I was feeling and what I was just doing or thinking that was even making me feel that way. It was when I started really learning how to challenge my thoughts. Like, all of those things started to really change when I just took responsibility for me. Now, ending up alone and feeling lonely, sometimes they're kind of like one and the same. Oftentimes this fear that we have of ending up alone really has to do with just not having the life that feels fulfilling. When life feels good and you've kind of built up a social circle, you've built up just a life for yourself in all areas, right? Career, hobbies, friends, things to look forward to. The whole taking responsibility for you is not just in here, which that's huge in itself, but it's also about on the outside. I'm going to have a good day regardless of what happens. I want to plan a trip to an island. Who wants to come? I'm going to have fun regardless of who comes. I'm not going to be disappointed or upset because you don't want to come and I really wanted you to come. I'm going regardless. Like, this ability to really build your life and have this kind of mindset, it's just a game changer. You're not afraid to be home alone on a Tuesday night, and even if you're human, so will you get lonely? Will you get sad? Will you shed a tear? Will you have a little bit of fear and self-doubt? Absolutely. What are you going to do when that happens? That moment of what are you going to do when that happens, that is where all of your strength lies. I want you to understand that being single and being alone is, first off, it's not something that's going to be forever. That's just not even realistic to even think that. So we're going to get the delusional thoughts, we're going to push them off to the side. But where you are right now can actually be the most fulfilling phase of your life if you choose to have it be that. You being alone right now should never equate to loneliness. Because remember, relationships, no matter what relationship it is, a partner, a friend, it doesn't matter, a family member, those are supposed to enhance your life. They're not supposed to define it. When they start to define it and you really start to fear the whole being alone thing, then you know you've gone down a rabbit hole where you're making this relationship or this thing way more than the relationship here. That means that there's something that's not happening here that you're not giving yourself, that's hurting yourself, that you're starting to put more weight on someone else coming in. Look, it's normal to have these moments. I am not going to invalidate how you feel. I want you to just start when you do feel anything, and again, this is for all areas of life, but we're just going to talk about this subject today. When it comes to this area and all other areas, I want you to start having that self-awareness, but I want you to start being more self-empowered to do something different than you've done before. I want you to start challenging yourself. I want you to start getting out of your comfort zone. I want you to feel confident and self-empowered to say, look, I'm going to actually start defining my life and I'm going to start living the life that I want to live, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. The more you do that, you start building a muscle in here that allows you to go beyond what it is that you think you're capable of. I want you to challenge every irrational assumption that comes through your mind. And I want you to start doing this over and over again. You working on yourself is the best thing that you will ever do, because first off, it's going to also allow you to attract a healthy partner. So I hope this video helped you. I hope it gave you tips. I hope it motivated you. I hope it inspired you. If you liked it, don't forget to hit subscribe down below. Give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends or anyone that you think might benefit, who really just needs a little pick me up and a little pep talk right now. So I hope you guys are well, and I will see you in my next video.